Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel once more. I still remain your wonderful host, Don Boogie Don. You know what it is? It is the big Champions League review show. It is the match day 4 of the Champions League. We are finally at the halfway line of the league phase of the Champions League for 2025-2026 season. So sit tight and let me drive you through the review of the results from the midweek games. And of course, to grow this channel, you have to help us to subscribe and share so that the people will know that Don Boogie Don is here. Also, don't forget to like, just click it, it's free. It's free, just like, and also drop a comment so that we get interactive in the comment section. So without wasting much of your time, let's drop the results over the weekend. Wonderful results over the midweek, sorry. And that is the results. We'll just pick a few matches and talk about it, then talk about the news surrounding the midweek games and the players who have gotten accolades from the midweek game. So, which games are we picking from? Okay, unlike last game week, which was the game week 3, when we saw 71 goals scored, which is the highest goal scored in a single week of the UEFA Champions League. This week, a couple of goals have been scored, but not as much as what we witnessed in game week 3 of the Champions League. Of course, where do we start? Let's start with Arsenal. Arsenal. It has reached a point where we'll sit down and talk about the Arsenal's defense. First of all, we are talking about how deadly and good these guys are with the corners. Now it's about time we talk about how good they are. Sorry, defensively, because this team is just looking like a joke. It's just looking ridiculous at this moment. And if Arsenal refuse to score, I don't know what's going to happen. But kudos to Mikel Arteta and his boys. 3 goals to nothing for Arsenal away to Slavia Praha, and also Merino finally getting a goal as he started as the number 9 in that game. Kudos to Arsenal. Then what other results are we picking from the Tuesday games? Liverpool beating Real Madrid 1 goal to nothing. McAllister with that header, Soboslai with that delivery in that game. Finally, Liverpool looks like the team that are finally getting back to the strong team we know. Finally getting back to the Liverpool we know last season. And of course, last season they beat Real Madrid 2 goals to nothing, and also beating Xabi Alonso and his Bayer Leverkusen 4 goals to nil. His men, Bayer Leverkusen, and now they still kept a clean sheet. Kudos to Liverpool, kudos to them, and kudos to Arne Slot for finally deciding to revert back to what won him the league and what made Liverpool great last season. It was great seeing Conor Bradley, who for me was the man of the match, turning up in that game, doing very exceptional. It just looks like when this guy sees Real Madrid, he just turns to a prime Maldini or a prime Cafu. Last time out against Mbappe, he pocketed the guy, and again this season, and he faced Vinicius Junior, and for those who watched it, you know what the story was. He pocketed Vinicius Junior. So kudos to Liverpool in that game. Then the biggest game of the midweek, which came between PSG and Bayern Munich. Bayern. Vincent Company. See, the story of Vincent Company has showed that if you know what you are doing, just stick to it and continue doing it. I remember when this guy was at Burnley. Yes, it was Burnley, and he was losing a lot of matches, but he still kept on playing that attacking style of football that he learned from Pep and other coaches he played under. He kept on playing it, got relegated. Bayern just took a gamble on this guy, because you can't tell me that a team as big as Bayern, having seen the way they have dominated the German league, decided to go for a coach that was non-tested to me, because he was non-tested at all with Burnley, and also relegated. You put this guy in, and the first season wasn't rosy, but after the first season, he's picked up already. Kudos to Vincent Kompany and his guys, and 16 games 16 games, all won all. He has won all 16 games. That's massive. First manager ever in Europe top five leagues to win 16 games into the season. 16 games played all, won all, no draws. So kudos to Bayern in that game, beating the defending champions PSG. I never expected Bayern to do that. For me, getting into that game, I just thought this game was going to end a draw, knowing how good PSG is. Okay, that was a good one. Luis Diaz had a game to. Should I say a game to remember, a game to forget? Because you can't do so much in that game, scoring 2 goals, a brace in that game, living the best life of your moment in that game, and all of a sudden you decided to go rash and rough on Dembele and picking up that red card. So Luis Diaz, one of the players that picked up a red card in the game week 4 of the Champions League. We had 3 red cards recorded. That was from Bodo Blind's Garden, from Bodo Blind, then Tottenham, Brendan Johnson also picking a red card there. Then, of course, Luis Diaz picking for Bayern. And it was also good to see Bayern hold on to that 2-1, to that 2-goal lead. Of course, they conceded, but they had to go out there that 2-1 win against PSG. Then Tottenham also doing so well. Thomas Frank also doing so well against Copenhagen with them men. Brendan Johnson, they won 4 goals to nothing. Then which other game are we looking at? Wednesday game. Karabakh putting up one of the biggest shockers this midweek, drawing Chelsea to 2-2. Would I say is a big shocker? No, not really, because if you have followed Karabakh this season in the Champions League, you know that these guys are really prepared. They are really prepared, and I felt that Chelsea, Maresca, and the boys really tried to underestimate these guys. At least they got something out of this game. 2-2 and 1 point added. For me, I believe it's 1 point added to Karabakh in the Champions League, because nobody gave them a chance to fight this well, but they are doing so well for themselves. And also seeing Estaval has really developed into a very important player for Chelsea, a very key player for Chelsea, because as things look now, I don't think there is anybody that can bench that guy on the right wing except if Kopama comes back. So kudos to the young man. Then the game that gave me more joy this midweek: Ajax 0, Galatasaray 3. Victor Osimhen turning up, scoring 2 penalties and one goal from open play. Kudos to our man, hat-trick. Oh, the hottest striker in the whole world. And I'm happy he's a Nigerian. Victor Osimhen. Now, this guy did a lot with what happened over the weekend. Of course, the 3 goals saw him up the chart. He is currently the top scorer in the Champions League with 6 goals, just above Haaland and Harry Kane, and also Mbappe, the 3 hottest strikers. Now he has made them 4. So kudos to him. Those guys they are on 5 goals, and of course Victor is on 6 goals. Like I said earlier, he scored a hat-trick, also going home with the Champions League ball. And there is this scoring streak I saw. Ronaldo, of course, leads the way with 11 games. He holds the record for the longest scoring streak in the Champions League, like consecutive games that you have scored. Ronaldo holds the record with 11 games. Lewandowski closed there with 9 games. Then same with Lukaku and Van Nistelrooy. Osimhen has scored in 8 consecutive Champions League games. He just needs 4 more games to score in and overtake Ronaldo. Will he be able to do it? I don't really know. Looking at the teams he's going to do it against, you have the Union Saint-Gilloise, then Monaco, then Atletico Madrid, and then Manchester City. Can he overpower these 4 teams? I don't really know. But a player who has played 3 champions, should be 4. This is 4, but out of the 4, the 3 Champions League games he has played in, he has won all 3 Man of the Match awards. Osimhen is a player like no other. Guy is so good, man, so good. Then from there, what other team am I looking at? Manchester City, of course, beating Borussia Dortmund with 4 goals to 1. I didn't expect the scoreline, but I equally expected Manchester City to win playing at the City ground. Sorry, at the Etihad. Inter Milan struggling against Kyle Martin there, but finally they had to come up with that 2-1 win. Then Barcelona going away to Club Brugge, and it was a very dramatic game for those who watched it. It was a very dramatic game. Hansi Flick, finally, it looks like the winning machine has started falling off. The wheel has started falling off. The team is cracking. It is really cracking. And guess what? Their next game be against Chelsea. All those talk and hype before the season started. They are looking towards it before the Champions League games started. They are looking towards it. So Barcelona, it wasn't really a good game for them. Real Madrid lost, Barcelona drew, then Atletico Madrid, I think they won. Yes, they won. They won 2 goals to 1, if I'm not mistaken. 3 goals to 1 against Union St. Joe. So that is it. Atletico stepping up for the Spanish teams are there in the Champions League. I think Villarreal also played, but they lost, if I'm not mistaken. Villarreal, I think they lost. Maybe I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not mistaken. They lost against Pafos. It wasn't a good outing for the Spanish teams out there in the Champions League. So we head straight to the players of the week, and they had the nominations of Victor Osimhen, Phil Foden, Forbes of Club Brugge, who scored 2 goals also, and Mikel Merino, who scored 2 goals. Unfortunately, Luis Diaz, who scored 2 goals, was in here because of that red card. And the most surprising thing, how on earth did Phil Foden get to win the player of the week in a week where Victor Osimhen scored a hat-trick? How did Phil Foden with a praise get to win the player of the week? I don't really know, but you guys voted. You guys have voted, and that's what you have. Phil Foden first, Victor Osimhen second, Carlos Forbes third, and Mikel Merino fourth. Then to the team of the week. The team of the week, as you can see, the team of the week here. Manuel Neuer really stepping up against PSG. I believe that Courtois would have also had a shout to be in the team of the week if only Real Madrid had won. Then, as you can see, the defenders, a 3-man back line there. Then the midfielders, of course, McAllister has to be there for that goal. But I believe that Szoboszlai should have been here. McAllister did so well, he scored, but Szoboszlai, you know what he gave in that game against Real Madrid. Zabacosta also here. Mikel Merino making it to the team of the week. Then Victor Osimhen, Phil Foden, the nominees also there. Then Forbes also, you can see them. That's the team of the week for you. Then to the table, which teams still have 100% record? Just 3 teams, and they are Bayern Munich, who are leading with 12 points, Arsenal 12 points, Inter Milan with 12 points. So you can see the top 8 there: Man City, PSG, Newcastle, Real Madrid, and Liverpool, all 9 points, except Man City, who are 10th. So that's your top 8. As you can see the others there. That's the league table after game week 4. They had half point of the league phase. Then Victor Osimhen has scored also the highest goal for a Nigerian player in the Champions League. He overtook Obafemi Martins. That hat-trick. He has 25 goals in the Champions League. What else am I forgetting? Also, Erling Haaland, I forget to talk about this in his game for Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund. He scored, and this guy is a robot. Now look at this. He became the first player. He became the first player in the Champions League history to score 5 consecutive games for 3 different clubs. He did it with Red Bull Salzburg. scoring five of his first games in the Champions League for Red Bull Salzburg. He went to Borussia Dortmund. He repeated the same thing. Came to Manchester City, and now he's doing the same thing again. Erling Haaland, kudos to you, my man. You are the man. And any other thing to talk about before we close up? Nothing else to talk about. So stick around the Champions League. We are at the half point, and if your team is not balanced well on the table, you should run it up, because any moment from now it starts setting, and you don't want to go through the rigors of playing playoffs. So I remain your wonderful host Don Bogidon, and here we have to end it. Please like this video, share and subscribe to this channel. See you when we see next. Bye bye.